Sunday Footy Show, we've got an action-packed 2 hours ahead. Damo reckons there's a certain youngster destined for the tribunal. Rory's been up all night celebrating a Shield win, if you don't mind. Llordo's worked out what's wrong with the Demons, and Nathan is in raptures about just one of his teams. Don't worry about the federal election. This is the team that delivers on every promise. Yep, we're making footy great again.
Dry texture spray.
Hello there and welcome to the Sunday. What is that in the can?
The hairspray, I think. That's a long time ago. That wasn't today.
Oh, okay.
That's an old one.
All right, okay.
We've showed that before.
Like most comedic clips on this show, it's old. Hey, Damo's here.
Hey TJ, a couple of big wins last night by big clubs on the Brisbane Hawthorn in varying conditions. Thought they were really workmanlike and very impressive.
Rory Sloane, as I said, mate, what about the South Australians?
Absolute scenes in SA yesterday. I think a great result that was played at Carlton. If we've got some footage here of Carlton going absolutely bananas. They stormed the pitch, took the stumps. SA loved this, gave it a real county cricket type feel to this test match, and yeah, huge win for South Australia. Ryan Harris has done an incredible job with that group.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a test match, it was a Shield match, but anyway.
Shield match.
So thanks to the cricket experts.
Alex Carey was big.
Alex Carey has been huge. So he's
Former AFL player.
Former AFL player. He's been in ripping form, and continue that back in the Sheffield Shield.
Matthew Lloyd's here as well, and mate, looking forward to your deep dive.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it as well. Dustin Fletcher, who was one of my favourite ever teammates, we're going to talk about him. But have you had any phone calls this week from AFL clubs? Because they want to know how you've recovered so quickly. Because they're asking themselves, last week you couldn't walk with your knee.
No.
And then this week you're walking like nothing's happened. So they're calling you Lazarus, like the bigger comeback since Lazarus. So talk me through. I asked for your scans during the week. I said I want to, and I didn't get a response from that. But so did we find anything in that knee that you had up on a box last week? You had a knee brace on. So what ended up happening?
I didn't have a knee brace on. It's fine. It just was a remarkable recovery. A lot of icing. I remember Michael Roberts told me, rest, ice. Compression, elevation. Yeah, that was really good. So there you go. So, but thanks for your concern.
No. And he doesn't strike me as a hard guy, like someone who's going to work through the pain and get up the next week. So we saw Paddy Dangerfield was sliced open last night. If that happened to Tony, he wouldn't be on here for 6 weeks.
We might have some more on that later in the show, actually, strangely enough, Llordo. On the show. We might have some.
Oh, might we, Damo?
We might. Yeah, we might.
All right, then.
Yeah. Hey, we had last year someone leave this particular show, didn't we? He took himself off down the road.
You can say his name.
I can't. Not on this show.
You can?
You can, yeah. We'll have them say. And we may have had a vote, Brownie. You and I may have sort of voted to maybe take him off. Yeah. Anyway, much to my dismay, my shock, Llordo, my hurt even, when on Monday night preparing for Footy Classified, we'll round the mobile phone of one of the producers watching what he was doing, and who should bob up on that show helping it promote?
Swipe is on after this on the agenda. Practice.
Big weekend of football with plenty of upsets and some young players putting their stamp on the game, the rising star market. Good luck and enjoy the rest of the show.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Now, Llordo, I'm putting this into the traitor category.
Yeah, I'm with you, Damo. I think ever since Felix Van Hoff took his hosting job, he's just jumping at any opportunity. Is
Von Hoff.
Oh, Von Hoff. Von Hoff.
I don't know where they go. I just go in there and do the job.
You said enjoy the show.
You said good luck on the rest of the show.
You told me it's before a show, so I've got no idea when it goes.
Enjoy the show.
I just roll out what they need.
We weren't
happy.
What we do. It's fair to say we weren't happy.
Enjoy the show. That was the thing. That was the line I think that got everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just a throwaway line that I do at the end of everything.
Well, it's almost like an endorsement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you have expected him to say?
I beg your pardon?
What could he have said and said?
Not just say no, Rory.
You know what I would have said?
Say no.
Say no.
I would have said gamble responsibly. That's all you needed to say.
You're not allowed to say that anymore.
Why not? What, you're not
regulations, you're not allowed to.
Well, you're not allowed to encourage people to gamble responsibly.
We're not allowed to say it at the end of an integration, so we don't need to be talking.
Anyway,
we don't need
so
to be
there you go.
talking about that.
That was almost as odd as Tom Morris's hair transplant ad bobbing up during Seven's News through the week. Yeah, but anyway, everyone's got to earn a quid, I guess. Hey, let's take a look at the scores so far from this round of football.
Essendon, 12 points over Port Adelaide, came home late. They kicked the first one in the last quarter. Port Adelaide, the Western Bulldogs, tough win against the Blues, come from behind. Gold Coast, 58 points. St Kilda, after a slow start, smashed the Tigers. Hawthorn last night in the wind. And Brisbane, 5 goals down, came back. And Llordo's got a few things to talk about the Brisbane Lions.
And that's left the ladder looking this way. It's going to be out of whack all year, TJ, as we know, with the byes and the postponements of matches. But those 4 teams on the ladder this morning are all unbeaten. 4 matches to Hawthorn, 2 to Adelaide. And the next 4, Brownie, in the top 8 have all lost one of the matches they've played with 2 matches today to go.
Alrighty, so yeah, it is a distorted ladder, and as you said, it's going to be like that for all of the season. Let's talk about the match in Launceston last night. Very, very windy conditions, as Nathan Brown quite rightly said, but a terrific contest.
Oh, fantastic contest, and you'd expect that from 2 sides. We expect to be top 4 this season, and well done by Hawthorn. Like, to go in 5 goals 7 that the Giants had kicked to 2 behinds. You can lose your nerve when you're 5 goals 5 behind, but gee, they played well after that.
Yeah, and I think the calming voice of Sammy would have just told him at quarter time to go, don't worry too much about this scoreline. It'll adjust if you follow our process. And I'm looking forward to see what Nate's got in that regards too.
Well, I don't think it's a big statement to say Lloyd Meek is now the #1 ruckman in the competition, because at quarter time, you get a neutral ball every time you go back to the middle. So the wind doesn't help you. But if you've got this guy doing what he does, he just monstered them in this second term. So they had every centre clearance bar 1 in this second term. So this is him here against the ruckman Briggs. So we've fast forwarded this up. This is what he does. He takes you to deep water as a ruckman, and he just absolutely pushes as hard. Goes all the way down. Ruckmen don't do this, but I tell you what, he does. Lloyd Meek in the goal square. Look how far. Briggs could not keep up. So that is their first goal of the game. This is the very next centre bounce. Lloyd Meek again, taps it down beautifully, gets the shark himself, and then rolls through, puts it inside forward 50 again. So all of a sudden they're away. They are away. Lloyd Meek, have a look at that tap, perfect. But I want to pause it here. So your ruckman's on the ground. You want to take him to deep water again. Have a look at Lloyd Meek. He's in here. Have a look at him go. He doesn't get this ball, but I tell you what, you don't want to play him as an opposing ruckman. And then this is the last one of the second quarter. Again, picks it up. He's the best ruckman in the competition right now.
Could be a new segment, Deep Water with Nath.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
For you, because that has brilliant vision.
He is just treading water at the minute.
No, but that is outstanding vision with where he's got to as a player. And it's amazing, they say never draft ruckman, let some other club do all the hard work on them for 4 or 5 years, and then take them after that, which the Hawks have done really well.
And you want them to be that size too. I think that's the thing we've been impressed most about him, is his physicality and his size, and that's what you want. You want your ruckman to compete in the air, compete in centre bounces and stoppages as well. So he is on fire.
And then, Rory, they obviously kicked against the wind in the third quarter and set the game up.
Yeah, I think at half-time they certainly had a few learnings from that first quarter where they couldn't quite get their game going, but what I saw from was a lot more run and carry. The use of hands, we'll speak about Nick Watson's game later with Will Day, but he was electric up and around a stoppage. They pulled Hardwick back, as you see. He was deepest forward, and they had a lot of space in between him and the stoppages where their mids and their small forwards were able to run and carry and use their hands and really chop through the Giants in this third quarter and set themselves up for that last quarter, Lloydie, where they could just finish off strong.
Yeah, I think we will catch up with Will Day very, very shortly. He's just one of the young guns who you're really impressed with at the moment.
They just want the moment. There's so many players that Hawthorn have taken in the draft who want the moment. So this man, Weddle, like, he's 20 years of age, but he I know it shouldn't have been a mark, but he wants the moment. This man, he lives for the moment. He has ever since he was born. He just wants the big moment. This Mackenzie, he's a star, and he's, as Brownie touched on, like his coach. He plays like his coach, doesn't he, Sam Mitchell? And this is one of the great goals, the way he took them on, bends the back, and then used the wind to his advantage. So between the 4 of them, and then they've got a captain, obviously, who's older, they just want the moment more than a lot of young kids.
This is a ripping goal, but I think he's doing the team thing. He was actually putting that ball to the top of the square, and sometimes when you do the team thing, you get rewarded.
Yeah. Could it be goal of the year?
Well, I reckon there'll be one better than it, but in the moment, that was
winning at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, so just I know we saw the ladder before, but at this point, if they were playing the grand final next week, does anyone beat them?
Oh,
I'd be backing them.
I'd be backing them as well.
Yeah.
Gamble responsibly. All right, as I said, Will Day will, of course, be joining us very, very shortly, live from Launceston. Let's talk about the Brisbane Lions, the defending champions, and this was a bit of a tussle against Geelong, the game that was held over from opening round.
Yeah, I just want to just get into something before it's too late and before everyone says, hindsight's a wonderful thing. They've won 3-0, but look at their starts. So they've come from behind in every game. And I believe, and I've been in this situation before, way back after we won a premiership, you can get complacent and you can just think your talent can do it for you, and then the teams will come along. In our case, it was the Brisbane Lions back, who they were too good, and we'd come back from 69 points one day, and we thought, oh, well, and I think that sometimes stimulation can be an issue for you, where it can take you to be 4 goals down or 5 goals down. So attitude-wise, there's no way they should ever be 4 goals down against the West Coast Eagles, which they were 2 weeks ago. So I'm just putting it on notice for them that attitude is everything, and they're not going to get back against good sides.
Oh, it's fantastic insight from you as an Essendon player at the time, Llordo. But that's what they did in the finals last year, if you recall. 44 points down against GWS in week 2, and then 25 in a prelim final down against Geelong. So I just feel it's just the way they set up. And I think there's a power in actually coming from behind.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be the other way. That's all I'd say. So I'm shocked they got away with it last year. And I don't want Brisbane fans say, you always get into us because they're a brilliant side. But, I don't think they'd get away with it again.
I think Fags, he picked it up after the game in his press conference. He goes, that's not the way we want to start. We want to start games much better than that. He did. He said, well, the second half, we just wanted to play dry weather footy. And we saw the way they were taking their uncontested marks and able to move the ball in a manner in which they have in the past. So he's recognised it. I reckon they'll fix it pretty quickly.
What are they doing from a positive point of view?
The backmen were outstanding last night, so they're under siege. Geelong had some wonderful moments, with what they were doing, but Jeremy Cameron held to 8 disposals. This guy's underrated. I was never sure about him early, Payne. Harris Andrews has always been a wonderful player, but Ollie Henry 9 disposals, Jeremy Cameron 8 disposals, and Shannon Neal had 5 disposals. So they stood up really tall. You look at the scoreboard there, 48 to 16, 48 to 23, and these guys in defence stood magnificent.
Payne was just about the most influential big man on the field last night, particularly in the second half.
And he can play tall or small. You see him on Henry there, so that was a real positive for them, TJ, and a huge win in the context of the season.
How concerned are we about Geelong?
Look, I think they play so many games down at the Cattery that they're going to be fine, but they'd be concerned about their performance last week, and particularly when Tom Stewart doesn't play. The balance of their side goes out, and he's a player of a generation. Nobody else has a Tom Stewart in their team that can play key back, then can go into the midfield. If you need him to go forward, he's tough, he's hard, he's uncompromising, and he's a leader. So not every club has a Tom Stewart, and I think when he's not out there, the Cats are 10% off, which in this competition, if you're a little bit off, you're going to get beaten.
Yeah, I don't think it's panic stations yet, TJ. They were 47 points down against St Kilda, nearly got the result their way. And last night, they were 6 goals, 5 goals, 32 points up at one stage against last year's Premier, who's going to be thereabouts again. So the 1-2 scoreline, I get that, but they're doing most things OK.
OK, they are at the Cattery on Friday night. They're up against Melbourne, and they get Melbourne at a time when the Demons are almost on their knees. And we saw that yesterday at the MCG on a Saturday arvo, where the Suns just completely dominated.
It was all their midfield yesterday, and this is a midfield that you don't want to come up against. So there's been some great midfields, and they are on the precipice of being a great midfield. So you talk about Rao, who's the in and under. Anderson can do it both ways. He can go in and under and on the outside. So too Flanders. Humphrey rolls through there. You've got Touk Miller, who plays midfield but then pushes forward. Kicked 3 goals yesterday. And Witts as a ruckman, plus 16 in the clearances yesterday. You don't want to come up against the Gold Coast Suns and take their midfield lightly.
Melbourne, what I loved them for in the past was just how tough they are. They're uncompromising. Yes, their entries were nothing special, but yesterday they were beaten at what they're normally brilliant at. So smashed by 16 in the clearance, centre clearance, contested possession. They were beaten up by the Gold Coast Suns, and then after that they just didn't want to work, and so they've lost 2 games in a row by 10 goals. And we look at the vision. Remember we sat here last Sunday and spoke about the Bombers? This was as bad as the Bombers. So the Gold Coast just running in waves, at ease. So if Melbourne aren't strong at the coalface, what is their weapon? They are in real no man's land with where they're at as a side. Yes, they've introduced some players, but if you want to play this game against the Gold Coast Suns, good luck with the weapons that they have. And I just look at them. There's players just running away, but not actually coming up to put pressure on. This is bad by Steve May. Does he really want this, Steve May? He bobbles the ball. Then this handball from Rivers coughs that one up. So then it's a tackle. They give away a free kick. So Flanders wins the free kick. And I'm looking at some of the body language of Melbourne. So it's an easy kick. So Christian's throwing his arms up at the umpire going, that wasn't 15 metres. And I'm watching behind because I'm seeing Johnny Nobles on it. These two are giving each other a high five. I'm not sure what the high five's for. Johnny Noble comes waltzing past. He kicks the goal, and it told me a lot about where Melbourne are at right now, and that's as concerning a position of any team in the competition.
On field and off the field, can I ask you all? So Simon Goodwin puts them back in the conversation for all the wrong reasons again, with his post-match media comments about Max Gawn and personal issues, which he addressed through the week. Max Gawn addressed it through the week. Does it take the focus off the job at hand?
I don't think so. I think these things get beaten up by the media.
Hang on a minute. It wasn't a media beat up.
It's the media beating up. I don't think there's an issue within Melbourne who they sit there and go, oh, what about Goody's comments? I don't think Max Gawn and the players then start talking about it. I don't even think they notice it or even talk about it during the week. I think they get asked the question and Max Gawn has to answer the question. But you'd be surprised how much players don't take in what is said about them from week to week.
I think the media was quite defensive of what Simon Goodwin said last week, TJ, but I think the wider conversation is now being had about this club trying to reposition itself publicly through its own narrative of the we love each other, and this was going to be the new outlook in 2025. But, Rory, I was always going to judge that on the win-loss, and the win-loss right now, 2 10-goal losses against teams that are on the way up maybe in North Melbourne and Gold Coast Suns, but it's not the way they intended to start. Yeah,
not at all, and it was probably especially their clearance work for me, that was probably a bit off for Melbourne. I mean, Viney had 1, I think Petrarca had 2, Oliver had 5 clearances, and Gawn was a bit quiet as well. So that's normally their one wood. They're so good in the contest, and for them to be down in that area was maybe a few warning signs.
Do you think it's an issue with what's going on publicly, narrative-wise?
Well, I don't know. I've not played, so I don't know how much of that becomes part of the mindset, be it subconsciously or whatever.
No, it doesn't. To jump in, it doesn't. It's speaking from experience. It's one of those things you literally tune out from a lot of that noise. And to Nathan's point, they wouldn't even seen it.
Yeah, but I'll also say to Nathan's point, it wasn't a media beat-up. It was a genuine story, so much so that Max addressed it, Simon Goodwin addressed it, so it wasn't a media beat-up. Well, they addressed it because they were asked about it. Yes, Simon Goodwin did put it on the agenda, probably didn't need to, but it was a bigger story than what it needed to be. Yeah. Did you talk about it at all on your various outlets? No. We are a comedy show on Triple M with Damo, so that's what we roll with.
Damo's on a comedy show, you say? Yeah. OK, just got that clear.
All righty. Hey, what about Marvel Stadium? St Kilda, an opportunity for St Kilda fans to celebrate back-to-back, and they did so accordingly.
Yeah, it's great when you beat a side no one expects you to beat last week in Geelong, and then you can go, OK, we're 1-1 now, we've got Richmond next week, so that can set us up to be 2-1, and they just obliterated them after half-time. And these two we're showing is Wayne Miller and Sinclair, Jack Sinclair. I know at the start of the year, Damo was really excited about Houston and Dacos, what they could do, and that's spot on. And how excited would you be for St Kilda at the class of these two and what they can do? So you'd think they'll both be in the All-Australian mix by the end of the year with how good a footy they play.
Yeah, and the stories around both of them. I mean, Sinclair being so loyal and coming through the system way he has, and now Nasiah Wanganeen Miller being the focus of so much non-St Kilda attention by way of a contract that he's yet to still sign.
Is he $1 million player now?
Easily. Yeah, easily. Yeah.
So can I ask you, so there's going to be some big-name players, and we might talk about this in agenda a little later on, some big-name players potentially looking for new clubs. Is St Kilda an attractive club to go to?
I would have said no. I've said it 3 weeks ago, so I don't want to jump off the back of 2 wins. So I think that if they continue the trend and kick 20-plus goals and get fans coming back to the footy, maybe it might be different in 6 months'
time. It was more impressive for me just the last 2 weeks, what they've limited their opposition to. We saw what Adelaide did to them round 1, but I mean, limiting Geelong to a solid score and then Richmond to bully them in the second half. I'm more impressed around that than their actual scores.
There's an issue, TJ, that Llordo tried to get the AFL to deal with in the off-season. He tweeted for the first time in 12 months. It's over the players being pushed off the ball into a marking contest. It happened again yesterday. Now, Ryan Mansell has made contact there with Liam O'Connell, and you can see what has happened there with that damage. Now, he's been concussed, and there is going to be a match review office adjudication on all of this. So I raised the Llordo element of this, Llordo, because you didn't like what you saw in the time that Ginbey pushed Sam Lawler under a ball in the off-season.
I didn't, Damo.
And they didn't deal with it?
No, they didn't deal with it at all. And now we have a situation where Mansell will get 3 weeks. I know there was an adjustment, wasn't there, recently?
Well, how do you know?
But anyway, at the start, I was really concerned what Ginbey did because I understand the tunnelling side of it, and when you sort of can push a player into traffic and can hurt them. For whatever reason, the AFL did nothing about it.
So when you see that, and look, it's hard to be talking about a younger player in Ryan Mansell doing this, but when you see that, does he deserve a 3-week ban?
Yes, he does.
For the sake of the game?
Yeah, it's so dangerous, absolutely dangerous.
But he's not watching like people come the opposite way. It's like I'm focused on my opponent. I've got to push you to do my body work to get some separation.
He didn't know here what he's doing. Can we watch that one more time?
His eyes are on the ball. And
I think he can see, he can get a look of who else is coming in the other direction. So, yeah, I don't think he'll be playing for 3 weeks.
I think he's tracking the ball in. If you track the ball in, you want to know where the ball is and your oppo, and then your direct opponent, you're not focusing on anyone else. You don't have the capability to focus on anyone else.
I can see here.
We can't be walking past that, though, I don't think, can we?
Oh, well, we'll find out soon enough. Marvel Stadium on Friday night. This was the Bulldogs up against Carlton. No one quite knew how this was going to pan out. How did it?
Well, it come down to the last 5 minutes, and you want your players to win the important one-on-one contest in the last 5 minutes, and that was the Bulldogs. So Norton hadn't touched it all night. A big one-on-one grab, and then they go back and they take the lead. But young Davidson, have a look at this. 2 young players going for the football, one-on-one. He wins that one-on-one battle. Moments later, Bailey Dale sees the one-on-one, fists it away, wins the football back. Bailey Dale picks it up again. All of a sudden, they're another goal up. Sort of a one-on-one win, but he still had to take the mark, kicks the goal. And the last clip I've got to play is this one here. So they get the football. Oh, this is Tom Liberatore first. Big one-on-one win there, and then they go away. So this one. Have a look at the Bulldogs players in the foreground here. So they are absolutely spent. These 2 right here, they are spent. The ball goes in, but they still push to get to the one-on-one. Couple of big one-on-ones in there forward end. Liam Jones does really well. Rory Lobb probably goes a little bit harder than his opponent. They get the footy, but then they win it. And have a look at those 2 players I just highlighted. Richards and also the other player there, I can't see his name. So
Kennedy.
That was Kennedy, yeah. Sorry, Llordo. Yeah, just the big one-on-ones that the Bulldogs won.
Llordo, when you talk about names, there's a lot of big names missing from this side, isn't there?
There is, and just to get to 2-1 early in the season and just buy yourself some time before Bontempelli comes back and Cody Waitman, Joe Hannison and Treloar. They're still a fair way off, these guys, but it gives you a lot of encouragement, doesn't it?
Definitely does. And I thought Libba's game was enormous on the weekend. He's been such a bull the last few weeks, but I think he's looking forward to having someone like Bont. And I know Treloar's maybe a little bit further off, but that footage at the end there, he's plotting along because I reckon he's shouldering a big load, but he's been enormous. He's been absolutely...
Yeah, I've seen a lot in my time on this set, but I've been distracted this morning. So can we just roll the videotape of what's going on? There's Nath walking to the plasma to prepare. And TJ, I was going to let this slide, but how can we work effectively here when you've brought in your dog?
That's not my dog, that's Tony's dog.
Sniffing around my feet.
And it's just been at it and at it. And
it's a beautiful dog.
You've given it about 1,000 doggy treats this morning just to keep it sitting there.
Look, I guess I'm running out of friends on the panel, so I thought I'd bring my own. So he's all right. He's under there at the moment. And can you get back up on the plasma? Because as soon as you do that, he goes to sleep.
It's not great working conditions.
Yeah, no.
What does it matter? It brings a little bit of calmness to the set, I would have thought.
Someone who might need some calmness, Michael Voss, 0-3 now, start to the year. They were 41 points up against Richmond, lost it. They were competitive against Hawthorn and Western Bulldogs, but not sure where he's going to go from here.
Our best has been pretty good, but we just seem to be straying from us more than we'd like. And it's giving little pockets of windows for an opposition to walk through a little bit. We're inviting him into the game. And that's probably not giving enough credit to the opposition because you've still got to show up and you've still got to be able to get that done. So
it's just a hard, I suppose, way to identify what they do now, Llordo, to get themselves back on track because they started with great expectation and they have now only won 3 matches of their last 13.
Yeah, that's damning enough. You can't have your head in the sand if you're Carlton and think, oh, no, we're just slightly off or players aren't sticking to it for too long because you don't just win 3 of 13 if there's not bigger problems than that, and that's what Michael has to address.
Well, I'd love to ask Will Day later around what they did last year to get their season back on track when they were Norton 5, because they're only Norton 3 at the moment, and as Vossi said, there's a lot to like about what they're doing, TJ, at the moment. They're just not quite having those big moments like Western Bulldogs.
So you believe that, do you? When you've won 3 of your past 13, you believe that it's just about moments?
No, I would love to get Will's insights into that because I think there is something that they can do.
I might ask him that question.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a good question. Yeah, I'm going to ask him that one. All righty, let's move on, shall we? Because we're going to talk more about the Mackay twins too, Damo, a little later on in your agenda.
Yeah, we will. They've both got storylines around them that need some discussion.
Yeah, it just seems to me that they're the whipping boys of the AFL at the moment, and I'm not entirely sure it's fair. Hey, let's move on now because it is time for What Caught My Eye, and I might kick us off a little bit, actually. Now, Nath, can I just set the record straight? We do get on quite well.
Really?
Okay, all right. So you've had a little bit of a rough off-season where you've lost a number of gigs and you're just sort of like down the sort of media ladder somewhat. Yeah. We know that you lost your Today Show gig, which I can't understand why, because what you brought to the show was terrific.
State of Origin series, which is high quality and very intense. So there's some big discussions coming
Just a couple of possums up in the tree.
So, okay, so that probably didn't go well for you.
Yeah.
And then they replaced you with Llordo, and I thought, okay, I can understand that, but what got Llordo over the line, do you reckon?
Let's bring in Bombers legend Matthew Lloyd, who joins us now from Melbourne. Lloydie, gee whiz, guns out, guns out. Wow, big fella. Have you got a licence for those or what? Good man. All right,
Yes.
all right, let's get... Just give us one more flex before we go on. What about the arms on him, everyone?
I know.
What about it, ladies? Oh, my goodness.
They do look good.
Yeah, so no contest, really.
Yeah,
no contest.
I wouldn't talk about losing gigs, TJ. Damo, I noticed this. You've turned into a bit of a weatherman on Footy Classified.
Well, 12:10 p.m. start local time in Brisbane in a period of the calendar which can be very, very humid, Sam. And these are the official degrees, and the humidity got up to a higher level than that, and it may have got close to 100.
So everybody's got their kryptonite. Things that don't work out well for them. Obviously, the tennis is your kryptonite, Tony, and anything to do with that. Llordo, Matty Knights is your kryptonite, you know, the end of your career. Anything to do with camping is obviously a kryptonite for you, Rory. But Damo, we feel like when we see vision like this, the weather and the humidity is just your kryptonite. Here you are, trying to figure out your camera in the humidity of the Gold Coast. Have a look at you, Damo.
I was doing a live cross for 2 hours off a laptop in Queensland, Brownie. I did struggle though.
Your patience was being tested.
They did fog up.
Your patience was getting tested. You did crack them a few times.
On grand final day, you and I had a little moment off air too, didn't we? Just before.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, we did.
You had a moment with BT too, I believe.
Yeah, I've had a few moments, Brownie. But look, truth on this show, it regularly just gets in the way of storytelling, doesn't it? Let's face it. And we refer a few moments ago to Matthew Lloyd. Now, a couple of years ago, we revealed Lloydie had been mauled by a lion. According to he said, Brownie, he was mauled by a lion. Then we found the photo at the same time in question. There's a little scratch there. Now, I raised that because last week in our news segment, Have You Heard, Llordo and I went deep on something that happened to TJ. A person on the panel had a fall, and we have to say had a fall because that is the age of the person in question. I'm referring to Tony Jones. Bravely went through his live cross for Channel 9 on Friday night, then went to catch a cab, Llordo, on the Jollymont side of the MCG and had a fall.
So he's tripped, he's knocked his knee. And it's like he needs his leg amputated.
Now, I'm uncomfortable with what I'm about to do. I've been sent some medical records, which you normally don't go down
well a few years ago.
No, it didn't go down well, but I'm prepared to venture down that path, TJ, because we have got your medical records from this said incident. You can see that things looking okay there, your height's there, your teeth are large.
What's the age?
Yeah, your teeth are okay, they're large and immaculate. The hip, knee, ankle are all clear, and there's a diagnosis of hypochondria with what you suffered last week.
I'll take umbrage to the age. You can fix that up right now.
Now, Damo, a few...
Was that it?
Yeah, I thought I'd do it quickly just get over the top of that one. Hey, there's a few concerned at Triple M about what you're delivering compared to what you're delivering here, and I'm with them on what you delivered here in a washing machine, sorry.
We recently got a new washing machine because it does get a lot of work, and I didn't know which compartment to put the sanitizer one you put in with your gym gear. So I got onto the particular brand. I just went down a rabbit hole and it all just goes in the same little socket in the end. But I wasted about 20 minutes trying to find out where the sanitizer was.
So you're serving that up. You're serving that up really class.
We're trying to get rated.
I was going to say, the ratings won't be good in that moment.
Is that the comedy show you were talking about? That's the comedy show, right.
And Chief, who I really rate in the media, he watches our show and he delivered this towards Damo off the back of what he gives them to what he gives us.
Well done, Jace.
Honestly, you come in here and you're a combination of Jeff Boycott and Chris Tabaret. You couldn't play a straighter bat or be more You're like dry toast in the morning. It fills a hole, but no one really likes it. It's like when Nate's taking all the toilet paper. I'm wiping my ass with coarse paper towel. It's getting the job done, but it's not what we're looking for, Damo. What about a modicum of humour when you come in on a Friday, my friend. We want Sunday Voldamo on the huddle.
So I'm pleased that we're bringing the best out of him. Not a triple.
Don't fire up there, Chief. That's not all. Damo's antidotes on air, on radio. You have certainly missed one because I've been tuning in as well. So listen.
Oh, you're coming as well.
Yeah, I'm coming.
I fancy myself in the kitchen, particularly when I got time. I didn't have a lot of time, but I was doing a risotto, which I do like doing, and I had a stock in the freezer. I make my own stock for this purpose. So I did a chicken and mushroom risotto. It was only last night, by the way. And I grabbed the stock out of the freezer, thinking it was chicken stock, which was in there. But the stock I had grabbed out was actually a fish stock. So I just dosed it with some stock powder, chicken stock powder. It worked all right, but
to where,
big
did
mistake.
That went.
This is Howie's problem.
That went to
That's
air.
Nick Larkey impersonating.
No, I am not done because we think Damo's boring on air. I've got the king of boring on air. Please have a listen to this.
Hello. Hi, how are you? What's your name?
My name is Amy.
Okay, and what would you like to talk about?
I like reading books. Yeah, so most nights I don't stop reading. I just read until I get tired.
Yeah, it's a good way to nod off to sleep, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's a good way to go to sleep, by reading and then you get tired.
Pardon?
I was just saying it's a good way to go to sleep.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'll try again. I say it's a good way to go to sleep. You know, you read your book and you get sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
Hello.
Was that the call before or after the one where you thought they could feed whales by hand? You stupid man.
You should be reading audiobooks for kids' bedtime stories.
Hey, mate, we should have your own segment so you can give us some more antidotes.
I am borderline dyslexic, everyone, so you'll get a few of those across the year. I apologise already.
Damo, our ratings are bad on Triple M. I'm blaming you.
We'll take a break here on the Sunday Footy Show. Up next, Hawthorn champion Will Day. Welcome back. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. The Hawks, they are absolutely flying, as we said before the break. Deservedly outright premiership favourites at the moment. And, well, even though we're only 4 games in, this was their toughest test yet, wasn't it?
It was, and you want to bank your wins early. That's what Hawthorn are doing now. 4 wins, 0 losses. And to be 6 goals down at quarter time and a comeback and win, that's a brilliant win. And our guest is Will Day, one of the best men on the ground yesterday in Tasmania. Will, congratulations on the win. And what was the messages at quarter time? Was it not to panic until you've had a crack at kicking with the wind in that second quarter?
Yeah, definitely. They came out strong. We knew the wind was pretty strong, but we didn't. We were hoping it was when we were kicking with it as well. So, yeah, to have the response we did in the second quarter was awesome.
Explain what you then decided to do for the third quarter, because I thought you played a little bit different. You could seem to control the ball a little bit more, to even take some time out of the clock. What did you learn that you put into place in the third quarter that you didn't put in the first, kicking against the wind?
I think for us it was just still trying to play our way, and we ended up just having a focus that if we can at least kick 1 goal, we can set up the game for ourselves, and we're able to do more than that, which was nice. So I think it just reaffirms that when we play our way, we can get the job done.
Hey, Will, I was super impressed with Cam McKenzie. It feels like a lot of other Hawthorn players, the light has been shining on them and he's had to do it the hard way and work his way into the team, but playing a similar role to what Sam Mitchell himself did. He was brilliant last night.
Yeah, he's been awesome and he's won all through pre-season. We've been really excited about internally, and I think now that he's had a game like this gives him a lot of confidence, and yeah, it's a game we've been seeing coming for a long time.
And Will, it's floating here, mate. So you had the op at the end of last season and missed some finals. You've come back this year and you look super strong through the legs. Your ability to break lines, you run and carry. How have you felt your pre-season's gone to set you up for this year?
Yeah, really well. I've got a lot of confidence in my body, which I probably haven't had through a lot of my career. So to have that now is really exciting for myself. And yeah, it's been a big focus to just keep working on that leg strength, as you said. And I think the way the game's going, power is a really important part.
Well, you were the instigator of the turnaround late in the second quarter. You personally just drove it on. Not only got return vision, but you can see what you were doing in that second quarter. But the person to follow you most instantly was Nick Watson, who had a brilliant game of footy. Just the one goal for him, but his involvement in so many forward 50 moves and the creation of other goals and scores was almost his best game.
Yeah, definitely. We said after the game that was the best game he's played for the club, and I think as you look there at that vision, that was in the first quarter where we couldn't get much going at all. But for him being so young to step up and be the one that sort of drove us when we needed someone was awesome, and yeah, really exciting.
Will, I heard Sam Mitchell during the week speak of that he's still not happy with a number of areas and that you need to get better. So he's still challenging you hard despite the win-loss record.
Definitely. I think we're at a stage where we can't really be satisfied with where we're at, and we know teams are scouting us a lot more each week, so we're getting the best of every team, and Sam's been really good to keep us on edge, and we enjoy the wins when we can, but then we're straight back to work to know that we've got to keep getting better.
Will, I love the push and shove after somebody kicks a goal, which you brought in last season. And last night, you kicked 2 back-to-back goals. One was taken away from you, but your teammates are very keen to come in and push you after kicking those goals. I love the camaraderie.
Yeah, I think after last year, I got a bit excited with Guinea, and it was in the media thing that I was spraying him, but I hope everyone can see that, yeah, when I kick a goal, I usually just black out and I don't really know what's going on. So, yeah, I'm just having a bit of fun with the boys.
Hey, Will, Damo asked you about the turnaround yesterday. What happened last year, right? We spoke about this before the break. What was it? Was there one thing that happened after round 7 of last year that has sort of now put you on this trajectory to greatness?
Yeah, I think a lot of us have been asked that question, and I don't think anyone can give this response that we had a magical solution or anything. I think we just came together and, reconnected and really wanted to be a lot more predictable to each other. And I think over the course of the last 20 games or so, we've built a lot of trust in each other. And I think going out to play now, a lot of us know what each other are going to do and provide for the team. And I think the power of that can't be underestimated.
And, mate, you now have a set level of expectations on you. I think there's a lot of people who are going to put you in their final sides and possibly win a grand final. How are you guys dealing with those expectations throughout the year?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think since I've been at the club, we haven't really had any expectation at all, especially last year. Starting on 5, the back end of the year, we were sort of still just blindsiding teams. So it's very different for a lot of us. I think being young helps us that we're just really just riding the wave, and we're just really enjoying it. But we understand that now that we're getting to a stage with where we're at, there's going to be a lot more expectation. So Sam's been really good with helping us with that. Obviously, Punky and Gunners have gone through a stage where the team was on top for a long period of time. So having guys like that as calming presence really helps us, and I think we just take each week as it comes, as cliche as that sounds, but yeah, to be honest, that's what we're really doing.
You're in my votes. You've been outstanding so far this year, and Brownie came in this morning as how good is Lloyd Meek? So Meek should have 6 Brownlow votes with what he's done to start the season against Sydney and yesterday at Giants. Watson, as you said, his best career game. Weddle is a star, and also yourself.
And Will, I've got to say, we give you votes also for creativity. Normally when we talk to players, they're either in their car or sitting in a room with empty shelves and empty walls. You've gone above and beyond. Where have we got you this morning?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a nice backdrop in Tassie, so we love coming down here. It's good fun.
All right, and we love having you on the show too, so don't be a stranger, as I say. All right, just before you go, here's the prize pack that'll be waiting for you when you get back home.
Thanks, Tony. You've got a family pass to Gumbaya World, where water slides, thrill rides and wildlife collide. A Hit Fit membership, combine body weight and boxing for a full body workout. Be best dressed on the golf course thanks to Clutch & Co. And we'll kit you out in Catstar Brad Close's clothing brand. Be close, your swing, your style. A box of Chrome Tour golf balls and a cap thanks to Callaway. And another 2 hats courtesy of Travis Matthew. Bar Fridges Australia are back. For all your beer and wine cooling needs, Bar Fridges Australia is your one-stop shop. A pair of Aquila, premium quality footwear since 1958. Treat yourself to a batch of Daniel's Donuts. Book a delivery online today. TJ loves a free meal, so we'll give you one at Platform 28, the best pub in Docklands. A pair of Rick's eyewear that inspires confidence. And elevate your wardrobe with the latest streetwear style from St. Goliath. Back to you, TJ. Peter Hitchener, 9 News.
And of course,
have you banned something else? I've just noticed that it used to be Chompers, whereas now it's Tony and TJ. So have you gone in and demanded that it's Pete Smith, isn't it?
that was Peter Hitchener.
Peter, no. Oh, was that him? Oh, sorry. Well,
that's why he said at the end, Peter Hitchener.
So the respect that maybe that he won't be, he's too...
Did you get rid of Pete Smith as well?
Yeah.
I didn't get rid of anyone. Well, there's only one person I want to get rid of, and that's you, Glad Rap Kid.
Has he banned something else? That's all.
I haven't banned anything. I don't encourage it, but I certainly don't... Oh, Will, you're still there, mate, eh?
Yeah, still here, Chompers.
All right, brilliant. Good man, good man. All right, good on you, mate. Thanks very much for your time and all the best for the remainder of the season.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Will Day joining us there from the Hawthorn Footy Club. Have you noticed over the past couple of seasons, these kids, they're just natural performers, aren't they? Not just on the field, but in the media.
He's unbelievable, that guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Will Day, what he's done through. What he's been through last year with his own injuries, to still just act as though it's all normal, and the way he speaks always gives an answer, doesn't he?
Next captain, for sure.
Absolutely. Oh, captaincy material. Guaranteed. We're going to take a break here on the Sunday Footy Show. When we come back, we're going to catch up with Brisbane Lions star Hugh McCluggage. The big names just keep coming. And also Mediocre.
Mediocre. Well, if you don't want to know the score, there's 2 times rewalts in this, Jack and Nick. So look away now.
Nick's in it, is he?
Yep.
OK, don't upset Nick. All right, we'll take a break. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show.
Who knows footy? Footy Classified, that's who.
He's welcome in the club whenever he wants. Tell me you've been right across it.
Taking you behind the headlines of the latest footy news.
Unbelievable vision from both of you.
The newsbreakers.
Are they soft launching maybe a mini rebuild here?
All new Footy Classified. Monday on 9 and 9 Now.
Welcome back. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Now, the Gabba last night. This was a match that was 3 weeks in the waiting, really, because it should have been in opening round, but Cyclone Alfred paid to that.
It was, and Geelong started really well, and then Brisbane got going after half-time. 20 inside 50s to 4 in that third quarter. And our guest is Hugh McCluggage, who is flying at the moment. Welcome, Hugh, to the Sunday Footy Show. Your personal football, late last year, playing some great, the grand final, big performance, and you've hit the ground running the first 3 games. 30 disposals last night. Is this the best football you've played personally?
Yeah, I'd probably say so. I've had patches of good form throughout my career, but I'm just trying to build that consistency now. And obviously, you get a bit of confidence off what we did at the end of last year. And it was probably the first 2 weeks I was in and out of games, but last night I felt like I had a pretty well-rounded performance.
Hugh, what about the delay? You know, having a game, you're with the Cyclone and your limited training, and now having to have this game put into when your bye should be. You must be rapt that you're 3-0, considering what you've been through as a club.
We definitely are. It beats last year when we were 0-3 and weren't travelling quite as well. We were probably playing just as well last year, if not better. We still don't think we've been at our best this year, but we've been able to scrape wins, and that's a sign of probably maturity, but also hunger off the back of a premiership. You're not sure how the group's going to respond, but we've been in positions in the first 3 games where we could have easily just, given in, but we've fought till the end and been able to come away with some close wins.
So the positive is you are getting over the line and coming back, but I did raise at the top of the show, as a premiership team, having to be careful that you don't get complacent, that you feel like we can get out of situations that you've been getting out of. So have your starts been discussed yet, or is it too early?
They definitely have, yeah. It's not ideal. We understand that teams are going to come out and come after us because we were last year a pretty good first quarter team, and we probably just haven't been able to neutralise the game well enough. Last night the Cats outworked us for sure in that first quarter, in that first half, and we need to make sure that if we can't win the first quarter, then we at least break even and make it a battle, because we know that we can score heavily late in games, but you can't keep dragging yourself out of situations like that every week.
Hugh, your midfield group's one that I've loved the depth of. Lachie Neale hasn't had his, I suppose, usual start to the season, but with guys like the Ashcroft brothers, yourself, Dunkley, and even Bailey coming in there at times, you guys have a lot more depth. Is that pleasing to see from the midfield coach?
It definitely is. I think probably 2 or 3 years ago there was questions over whether we could perform if Lachie got tagged out of the game, and last night we saw he was able to actually move forward in the second half, and to have someone like Will, who's only so young but so clean and polished in those conditions, is pretty amazing. And I think Dunks as well, probably one of the most underrated players in the competition. He's the best two-way player I've ever played with, and he does a lot of work to help us out defensively, and this year as well he's been able to get on the scoreboard and have a real impact offensively. So I'm not sure he always gets the credit he deserves, but one of the best teammates you can play with.
Hugh, the status you now carry, premiership player, reigning premiership team, how has that changed your outlook?
Not a whole lot, to be honest. So the month or two afterwards is a little bit different. You go down the street and you're getting pats on the back, and you've got to enjoy it. But I think now we've moved on. You take confidence from it, as I touched on before, but you got to make sure that you remain humble and embrace in the right way. And it's probably a bit easier to do up in Brisbane, where we're not necessarily a footy state, so you don't have quite as much attention. We're just going about our business as usual. We know that we can win in any position because we were able to do that last year, but we also know that it's such a tight comp and you need to be at your best every week, and we still need to make sure that we have that hunger, which I think we do.
Now, Hugh, exciting news, of course, with the new stadium being built primarily for the Olympics, but then the Brisbane Lions take control of that post-2032. Yeah. I'm not great at maths, but I reckon that works out to about, you'd be 35 or 36. Can you hang on just to sort of run out on that new stadium?
Well, hopefully I can take a few pointers from Zorks and see how we go. It might be a bit of a stretch, but no, it's extremely exciting for the club. The Gab has been awesome. We love playing there. It's got a super atmosphere. But even last night in the wet conditions, you saw that it was a sellout again, and there's such a demand for tickets and for membership up here. So we know that in the future, having a bigger stadium's going to be important, and it's a credit to what, probably not only the players but all the staff and the leadership of the club have done over the last 6, 7, 8 years to get us in a position where we have demanded that now, and along with the Olympics, it's a pretty special time for sport up in Queensland.
How tough has the adjustment been without Joe Danaher? Like, have you found you're still getting that, or you just move on pretty quickly over pre-season and it works itself out?
No, it's definitely different. You just miss, even at the Gabba, Joey, Charlie, when we didn't have him there, they draw eyeballs and they lift the energy. Charlie did that last night for us. Joe was always someone to do that. When there's a bit of a patch in the game where things are just going along slowly, they'll step up. So you miss that side of things. The unpredictability, I'm not sure if we miss that or we don't. You got a bit of everything with Joey, but Sammy Day has done a nice job at just competing and doing his job and getting it to the ground for the small guys to go to work. And we're not probably sure what our perfect mix is up there yet, but the fact that we've had different guys playing forward in such an important part of the ground and we've still been able to win without probably having the perfect connection yet is a real positive for us, I think.
I gave the votes last night, and when it comes to Brownlow medal night, the 3 will be divided either Ashcroft or McCluggage, so it'll be a 3 and a 2 situation. I thought Bailey, when it needed to be 1, thought he was very, very clean, and I love the job of Atkins in the middle for the Cats.
Hugh, great to see you, and we've got a terrific prize pack coming your way, mate, so thanks for your time this morning.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Hugh McCluggage joining us there. And,
impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
Good young man.
On the field and not.
Yes.
I tell you, the big names.
They keep
They've
coming.
got the big names.
I've got something for him.
He's a huge
Slow
name.
starts. Now, I'll quickly get you back to 2017. Adelaide Crows, very good year. Can't believe I'm going to go here. Brownie used to rip us for a couple of reasons because of our slow starts, and we spoke about it as a footy club, and we came up with the power stance, Brownie, and you've ripped us for this. The whole season we started slowly. The finals campaign, So Brisbane may want to adopt this. The power stance we did all through the finals campaign. Our start against the Giants, smoked them in the first quarter. Our start against Geelong in prelim, smoked them. And then our start in the grand final was pretty good too. So if the Brisbane Lions want to adopt the power stance, they can speak to Charlie.
So how did that help your starts, the power stance?
Because there's a there's a certain theory around cortisol levels. You'll see the way Cristiano Ronaldo lines up before he takes a set shot, soccer goals. He'll do something similar, not quite the same, but to lower or get the cortisol levels right and hone in to be able to...
Get the what levels right?
Cortisol levels. It's like
You're
your
not
adrenaline levels.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, TJ.
No. It's like get the adrenaline levels right so we can perform.
You volunteered this conversation. We didn't ask you to talk about this.
No, I didn't. I just wanted to get that out there and, I don't know, lighten up the mood in here.
No, it's interesting. So did you have that moustache when you did the power stance? Because that's quite intimidating.
No, that's more of a Big Wednesday. We spoke about old surf movies, but jack off Big Wednesday.
We've already got one person who has boring stories to break. We don't need to.
Hang on. There's three of us here. Don't forget Damo. All right, there you go. There's Nathan's, entree to mediocre, but here's the main course.
I'm a massive Super Saturday fan on Foxtel, where you can watch every game live in 4K, but if you want to hear them, you might need to go somewhere else.
Let's go straight to the G. Cameron Mooney is with the Sun skipper.
%, of the next premiership team was in the list. How does that you've added to it? How complete is the list?
Lost you. I can't hear a thing.
Oh, he's been out. We
lost him.
Oh, there you are. Have you got us there, Dimmer?
I'm just
lucky we got the hearing.
Jack Riewoldt could have used a few of those audio issues during the game.
Left a lot of questions. They don't want to compound that with a poor performance against the GWS Suns. I'm saying GWS Gold Coast. Sorry,
we got there.
Getting them mixed up. Obviously, a big game tonight. But
over at 3AW, Tobin brothers have really elevated their service.
Bang on 11:30. This is Footy Nightline. Thanks to Tobin Brothers Funerals, saving lives.
A funeral home saving lives. Interesting business model. Interviewing players after a win is an honour and a privilege. It would be a shame to waste the moment.
You need a drink, by the way. You just
Hold on, I'll get you one.
Rui's getting... So just explain to those at home. I really want to meet your mum, by the way. But there you go. Rui's grabbing a drink for you. This is service here. There you go. Thanks, mate. It's thirsty work. You got that? Thank you. What? You are dripping sweat. Hang on. No, that's right. That's right.
I can only assume they thought they were in an ad break.
You're not going to tip me on it anyway, right?
Don't need to go. I don't need that help.
I think it was open.
Righto, we'll let you go.
As far as comedy goes, AFL's Cal Toomey makes a great draft analyst.
Dacos more. Yeah. Better genes than Calvin Klein.
Oh, like it. Yusuf wants to know who is a gettable target who hasn't been mentioned on the show yet. Just move on from that one, I reckon.
Why? Why? Where do you buy your jeans?
Range of places.
That doesn't roll off the tongue, does it? What was the question?
For Ken Hinkley, the reality is that ultimately his time at the Power will come to an end.
Oh, I think, Sarah, the reality is we know, as you said, we haven't ultimately got to the final stage. The reality is we know what to expect from Essendon, but ultimately we do need to move the ball. The reality is we're so proud of him, but ultimately it depends on how the game's flowing. And the reality, if you get pressure on the ball, you force. But ultimately for us in the forward line is to have a bigger person there at time. But the reality is they bring great energy for you.
Ultimately, we needed a little bit of a bigger presence in our front half. The reality is, ultimately, it'll depend on how the game's going.
Good luck, Eddie.
I'm Nathan Brown, and that's Media Open. Just a bit of fun, Tone. Just a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously. Take it for what it is.
And we wonder why people have a crack at us.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do lead with the chin. Good on you, Nathan. The reality is we're taking an ad break, but ultimately we will be back.
We're celebrating my best 30 players ever in my time in the game. So 15 years as a player and 15 years as a commentator. And we're up to about number 26 now. And it's Dustin Fletcher, my former teammate. What a player he was. One of the best blokes you'll ever meet in your time. And this is him playing for Essendon Grammar in his first season as an AFL footballer under his father, Ken Fletcher. So
I did this story. And
it was controversial, sort of at the time, that he chose to play for his school, didn't he, over
Absolutely. Essendon? There's his dad there coaching, and it was huge. He was going to be the next big thing, and he was pretty bloody good. Yeah. But, yeah, he chose school over club, and I don't know how it went down with Sheeds.
Yeah, so that was, I think, round 1 of the season, and now this is round 2 where he played his first ever game. So on Stephen Kernahan, he debuted in a drawn game, Amo.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
To think he can go from school footy to playing against one of the all-time greats at the MCG in a season which, as we know, Llordo, ended up in a premiership win.
And he played his first game in the ruck, so that was something that was spoken about a lot. Sheeds thought he potentially could have been a ruckman, Rory, before he settled himself as a backman. But I just want to go on to what he did and why I admire him most is that the players he played on. So in this era, like, they were the great players of all time. And that's what I miss about the game now is that you could turn up, it's going to be Fletcher v Silvani. Then it was Fletcher v Ablett. And he played on Modra and Carey and all these players week after week after week. Like Djakovic,
Lynch.
The list went on. Yeah,
How would have he gone on you?
Well, I played on him a lot at training and you're going to get to something soon. His pace worried me so much that I'd try and take him higher up the ground.
So how was he such a good player of all these years? Was it his training? Because he clearly didn't spend much time in the gym, but he was a freak. He was quick and he just got to absolutely everything.
Well, I'll tell a funny story. He didn't love training, Fletch, and so we got a new fitness boss. His name was Stewie Cormack from the West Coast Eagles, and we felt like we were playing a quarter while doing our warm-up. Like, the warm-up was too big, so he'd have us do about 20 sprints in the MCG dugout. Fletcher do the first sprint, duck to a left, sit in the toilet cubicle for about 15 minutes, wait till the warm-up was over and then just go out and play the game. So he just did things his way, but his reading of the play and his speed is what made him special, and one of the best kicks, Rory, of someone that size that I've ever seen.
Well, he knew how to send him from downtown too, didn't he? He could kick a spiral, or if he was kicking out from a couple of kick-outs, he'd send him long down the middle, but he was good, and he'd go after these marks, and just a special talent. But in that era of that baby bomber era, Mercedes McCurry, under the leadership of Tim Watson too at that time, he was one of the best coming through.
Llordo, he also won the best and fairest in your premiership year of 2000, so it was a great year. He only lost one game to the Western Bulldogs, but all year he was just the best defender in the competition and things like this. Have a look at that rundown of Jeff Garlett. So 2000, best and fairest winner in a premiership year.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, his pace. It is extraordinary. I mean, those giant praying mantis-like legs, he put them to full effect. And you were saying, Llordo, off air, over 20 metres.
Yeah, so that's the test that, say, kids in the comments. This is him. He used to have some quirky reports.
He could find himself at the matchroom office, couldn't he, Llordo, on the tribunal? A lot of trips and a lot of gangly arms and legs and
tough
feet.
When they're 2 metres long, your legs.
The gadget man, Dustin Fletcher. So he'd just do things that try and hold them up. But just on your question, TJ, so kids this one was brutal at the time. I remember that was a big story. Got about 4 weeks for that one. Dustin Fletcher, that's an errant elbow there, the big Lankster, we call him. And this is him wobbling the post. So he's trying to wobble the post there. So he was leaning on it, hoping he'd somehow have the post lean back and Jess Sinclair would hit it. But just on his pace, they want you to be well under 3 seconds. So guys are
over 20 metres.
Over 20 metres. Some guys are, if you're 2.9, you're going really well. You're lightning quick. Fletch was 2.83, which was the fastest of any player at the club, and he was over 200 centimetres. So that's what made him a rare player.
Let's have a look at some of those long bomb goals I was talking about before, because he could kick them from absolutely anywhere, and I remember this running through the middle of the G, and he sent this from about 70, and watch it sail over the goal line. Drop punt too, yep. And the G, not notoriously known for a heavy wind to go straight down there, normally circles, but again, another drop punt. That one's from about 65, goes a few metres over the goal line. But it was at both ends too. I love the long bomb goals, but his kick-outs, he was pinpoint, so damaging with those two. It's a little bit of Lloyd.
Self-insertion here.
A rare handball that I gave. But
it's a good effect.
Yeah. So
Llordo, I mean, these deep dives have been fantastic this year, and normally you're either interviewing the personnel live or pre-recorded messages. Have we got something from Dustin?
Well, you would have thought it'd be the easiest one to get, and he has not taken my calls all week.
Is there some sort of fallout there?
We are great mates, so unless he's overseas or hopefully nothing's gone wrong, I'm fair to say I'm disappointed in you, Fletch. So I have not... Donuts, absolute donut. What's our...
And when did you first try and contact him?
During the week, during the week. So,
and how many times have you tried to text or call?
A couple of times.
Right.
Yeah.
Good teammate, though. He's a good teammate.
All right, well, we'll try and get to the bottom of that. Fletch, if you're watching, we've just spent 5 minutes pumping your tyres up, mate. Can you please just put him out of his misery?
And he normally loves a few freebies too, so I thought he would have loved our prize pack, so I'm shocked.
All right, we'll take a break on this note. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. What do we got next? Oh, the Suns. They were good. We'll tell you why after this.
Cameron, my time in the Barossa was nothing short of spectacular. Seeing rolling vineyards, visiting cellar doors, and having unforgettable wine experiences. This place knows how to welcome you. There's a sense of creativity in the Barossa, craftsmanship on every corner, and genuine warmth from the locals who are happy to share their artisan creation with you. Whether you're winding through the vines or indulging in a gourmet meal, the views are absolutely stunning. I've only scratched the surface and I can't wait to explore more of the Barossa.
We cannot wait to get down there. Cannot wait to see that stadium too, at the Barossa Stadium, at the Barossa, to see that fire up for 2 games over Gather Round. And of course, we'll be there. Sunday Footy Show on the banks of the Torrens, as we have been the past couple of years. Among our guests, the Premier, Peter Malinauskas. He doesn't know that yet, but I just thought I'd throw that in. So it's in his diary already.
Trying to get a couple of key South Australian figures in football too. Maybe one of my good mates, hopefully, will join us too.
Well, it's Tex or nothing.
Okay. Well, he's one of my good mates, so that's who I'm alluding to. Hopefully
What
we can get him on there.
Kane is gone. Does that give us more of a chance?
Absolutely. That's the only reason he'll come on now, because he loves you guys, and I don't know if he enjoys his company too much. But we're going to get into some footy anyway. We've got Melbourne versus Gold Coast, was yesterday at the G. The Gold Coast Suns performed unbelievably well. I think they've got the all-round game at the moment. They're playing footy in their forward half, Llordo. Their clearance work was exceptional, which we've touched on already, but they're ruthless in defence and they're working together in defence really, really nicely. One guy who was very, very handy up forward, Lloyd, I'll get your thoughts on Ben King's start to this season.
Yeah, I think he's been a wonderful player for them in a side that's often struggled. So he kicked 55 goals last year and he kicked 49, I think, a season before that, but he kicks a lot of 3s and 2s. And that's a barrier as a key forward. You want to get past, and I think he's about to get there. So he kicked 7 3s last year and 5 2s. And now he's kicking 6. Yesterday he should have kicked another 6. So now this team's going to get better. He may well be in the top 2 or 3 forwards in the comp by the end of the season.
Reaping some of the rewards of this very good midfield. It was led by Matt Rao, who was outstanding again with 13 clearances. Took Miller was enormous from up forward, and you've got Anderson and Humphrey there, who was also very, very good, Nate.
I know you asked the question about, we all got them in our top 8 now, surely? The Suns?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
I did have them in there initially.
Did you?
And the Saints yesterday belted Richmond, so it was a big win in the end. Sinclair had 40, McRae 31, Miller had 29, but it wasn't that easy. So in the first half, Richmond in the second quarter kicked 4 goals in a row, and they led by a couple of goals, and you start to think, is this going to be a boil-over? Because St Kilda, their first quarter and a half was quite flat. They didn't come with the same energy they came with against the Cats. They were just getting stepped in tackles and a couple of easy goals, but towards the end of the second term, they started to get their game going. They were putting some time into Wanganeen Miller. They were putting time into Sinclair and also McRae, but then sort of dropped those in bits and pieces. At some stages, they looked like they were putting arm across, but then just let them go. And
how important is this guy, Brownie? Mitch Owens?
Unbelievable. So he kicked 4 goals yesterday. He's just the conduit between the class and the finishers as well. So gets up high. Sinclair was the best man on the ground. I would have given him a 10 almost. He was close to that. 40 touches. Wanganeen Miller, Marshall, and also that man Owens.
So they're showing signs that they're giving the supporters value for money this year, aren't they, St Kilda?
Well, you'd hope so. Yeah, they played well yesterday for a half and won by 82 points. They were brilliant the weekend before against the Cats, but round 1, they let themselves down. So it's how Ross prepares them week to week. If they can keep that defensive mindset, we know, looking at yesterday and the week before, they can score quickly.
We'll take a break. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. The quiz not too far away.
Time for everybody's favourite segment, Brownie's Quiz, brought to you by Sportsbet. $500 on the line for the home viewers. And Damo, who you got today?
Gregory Bennett from Belaya in WA, Brownie.
Jesse Egan from also Belaya, WA.
I'm playing for Carolyn Hart from Hoppers Crossing in Victoria.
And I'm playing for Trent Nesbitt from Ballarat East.
Good luck to everybody. $500 on the line. The theme today is bad boys. We've got our very own bad boy there, Damien Barrett, who drives around in his Camaro.
You got a new one, Damo?
No.
Oh, I saw it the other. Geez, you keep it clean.
He totaled it. He had to get it fixed up. So, yeah.
I didn't total it. Tradie ran into me, Brownie.
Well,
yeah.
It's increased in value, that car, since you bought it, hasn't it? Do you... Yeah.
Can we just get on with it?
OK, bad boys. Which former bad boy recently joined Richmond's AFLW coaching ranks?
We lost one, but we gained
Brendan Favola. He's sharp early there. He's sharp early.
Can't go on with it.
Which Rat Pack member was suspended for 2 matches for drinking...
But I love this old guy.
Alan Didak.
Incorrect.
Daisy Thomas?
Incorrect.
I'm not funny.
Ben Johnson.
Incorrect.
We lost
Dane
one, but we
Swan is
gained
right.
1,000.
Off to a flyer. Famous faces question, this one. In 1984, how many times did Robbie Muir throw his mouth
But I
guard?
love this old guy.
Once.
Incorrect.
What's up, Crows fans?
3 times. He certainly did, Rory. Okay.
So hang on.
That is a
Picked it
famous
up.
faces. Picked it up 3 times
Down.
and threw it to the ground 3 times.
Thanks, man, Robbie Muir.
Okay, so here's some bad boys.
Let's big bad bustling Barry
Big
Hall.
bad.
Yep.
Damos, mate.
Oh.
Nearly 3.
I'll go
Bad
home,
luck.
yeah.
Okay. You got to take the boy off is a famous line
But
referring
I love
to.
this old guy.
Yeah, John Burke at the Lakeside Oval. Slug Jordan was the
I'm
commentator.
not funny.
Absolutely perfect toning. I think we've got some vision.
Got to get the boy off.
Let's have a look at this one on the replay.
Well,
Oh, boy.
What?
Did we see right then, Ray?
I thought.
Here we go.
Actually, when I was. Oh,
10 years.
Hey!
Oh, no.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, boy.
You just.
Oh,
Look, he's going to
Ben,
punch the
he's
fella
going
over
at
the
someone in
fence
the
now.
stand. He's into someone in the stand.
Oh, he's
All
giving
right,
one.
question number 5.
Sorry,
Question
John.
number 6, I believe now. Which Geelong bad boy was reported 4 times in the same game against Hawthorn in
We
1985?
lost 1, but we gained thousands. Not Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson is correct, Llordo.
But he said not Mark Jackson, so...
That is.
Yeah, actually, that's a
Good
point
point.
of order, Damo.
Good point.
I won't
Actually,
do that again.
hang,
But if it hadn't
no,
been
but hang on.
Mark-
He said not Mark Jackson.
He's got the point.
I'll go Ben Cousins.
You deserve
Benny
it.
Cousins, such as life, +2.
Oh, that's... You're going to take that, are you?
Yes.
That game was also famous for what incident between...
But I
Willie
love
Matthews
this
and Neville
old
Bruns.
guy.
Certainly was, right on Tony. Famous faces. Nearest the pin. How many games did Ben Cousins play for Richmond? Everyone gets a go. Quick.
Okay, I'll say 29.
I'll say 15.
I was going to say 43.
31.
32 it is, Damien. Well done. And for a bonus, what was the tattoo he had on his stomach?
Such is life.
Such is life. Well done, Damien. You get a point.
Let's go Acker. My mate Acker. Right in the middle.
+1 for Acker. All right, in 1995, which St Kilda ruckman, big man, welcomed Fremantle to the AFL?
We lost 1, but we gained thousands.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Go on, Llordo.
Oh, come on, big laser.
Couple of big swings. At least he can swing him, Brownie.
That's right. Got to be able
There you
to
go,
defend
kids.
yourself.
A little bit of coaching there from Rory.
Famous faces, question number 9. Which current player holds the record for the most times found guilty at the
But
tribunal?
I love
Toby?
this old guy.
Toby Green is right. Famous faces. There's a fair bit on the board, Ton.
I'll go Toby.
Toby Green. You can steal a point off somebody.
Well, does it matter? But I'll take it off. I'll take it off Rory.
Kick a man while he's down.
Okay, so Campbell Brown had +3. Lethal was the mute. Reece Jones, the risk. Fev, and then Dane Swan had a +1 as well. All right. Where am I?
Who am I?
Who am I? Thank you. I'm a forward that's in the AFL Hall of
But I
Fame.
love this
I
old
was going to say
guy.
Barry Hall.
Incorrect, you're out. I was a frequent panellist on the Footy Show for 4 points.
What's up, Crows fans? Was it Fev?
Incorrect. I was involved in the line in the sand game.
I'm not funny. Dermot Burton.
Incorrect.
Oh.
I infamously broke Brad Sewell's face.
We lost 1, but we gained
Sorry,
thousands.
Brad.
Yours too.
Llordo. Who's you win for, Llordo?
Carolyn Hart from Hoppers Crossing in Victoria.
Caroline, $500 coming your way thanks to Sportsbet. And if you want to join what is the greatest segment on TV, wwws.9.com.au/Brownies quiz.
And we'll be back with more of the Sunday Footy Show right after this. Our takeaways from Thursday and Friday night footy, starting with Thursday night, Essendon and Port.
So I want to ask you as a panel member, I want one word from you. Is it a rebuild in your eyes for the Bombers or is it a reset? Damo, what do you think?
I think they've made noises rebuild, Llordo, the way they're talking about.
Reset for me.
Yeah, I think it should be a reset.
I think a reset because they've still got some very good senior players who are playing top-level football.
What's the difference?
The difference is pretty much just go to the draft versus a reset. I think they're resetting how they do things, both in development, maybe recruiting, a number of areas to try and get themselves back on track. Who would you rather be? Saviour, given a job moving forward next year, would you rather be coaching out of Port Adelaide and Essendon off the back of Thursday night? I know it can be short-sighted, but
If you're asking the question on Thursday morning, you might have said Port, but you're saying Essendon after the result, aren't you?
Well, I've got to say Essendon because I can't say Port, but I would take Essendon anyway because I still think their pressure there around the contest is really good. I think their ball movement's still pretty sharp. And on the weekend, I think they tidied up that sort of outer layer of defence, which I think is what got them a win in the end. So
I guess that in the younger players, I think have got more upside than the Port Adelaide younger players.
And what's your take, TJ, on the succession plan? Do you think it has an effect on what could be going on now?
Well, I mean, it's a small town, isn't it? Okay, and you've got two teams. The pressure is enormous. And whenever there's a loss, it's always going to come back to that succession plan. Mick Malthouse, Nathan Buckley, it didn't work, but there was safety in numbers, right? John Longmire, Dean Cox worked. Paul Roos and...
John Longmire.
Worked. So, does it work? I just think it's risky to...
We can't tell yet. That's the big thing. It's like come back and have this chat after round 5 or 6 when we've got a bigger bunch of evidence to actually go off.
But whenever things go pear-shaped, it'll come back to that.
Do you think Ken will see out the year no matter what, or could you see him calling it early if they're not in finals contention?
Yeah, that'd be the only one. If they're not in finals contention, but otherwise he'll see out the year.
Friday night was the Western Bulldogs and Carlton.
And I want to ask you now, what do you expect from the Blues from here, Damo? Do you expect them to respond, or do you think they're in for a lean year?
I think it's a long year, Llordo, because I feel some of the moves that were made the other night. Lewis Young forward 2 goals, Kemp forward 5 goals. I thought Silvani worked as a lockdown back the whole game. They worked and they still didn't get the result they were after. So I think he's tried a few things. I think the list and the talent on the list is now at what's at question.
Definitely played a faster game in the first half, and I think that was a plan for the whole game. So they took the game on in the first quarter. They were trying to take kicks in the middle of the ground as much as they possibly could, which was very un-Carlton-like. They play a safety game. Even Zach Williams, the run and carry before he went off. Because it was a new game plan of such, they couldn't sustain that for 4 quarters. But I love the new way they wanted to play, particularly in that first half.
What are they in your eyes now? A top 4 side, top 6 side, just lucky to make the top 8? What do you think?
They'd be pushing for top 8. So I don't see them as a top 4 side. I don't see them in premiership contention. But Carlton have got enough stars and enough players that can get them around the finals, be having a knock in the last couple of weeks to see if they can get in 7th or 8th.
What about the Dogs? If they can win 1 or 2 of the next couple of games, what does that mean for their late half of the year?
Well, they're dangerous. They're certainly dangerous. But I heard Luke Beveridge say this, watched Luke Beveridge say this on Footy Classified the other night. I'm interested in everyone's thoughts.
In an ideal world, are you coaching the Western Bulldogs in 2026?
Well, possibly. We've taken probably a week-by-week approach to what the future might look like. You can still almost wear out your welcome at an establishment as well, and if it gets to that point where I'm sort of feeling that, or even the club is feeling that.
Are you feeling that right now?
Not at all. No, I definitely don't. There's a real energy and an optimism in the footy club.
I like it in terms of a coach. He's not saying, let's just wait and see potentially to see how this year goes and is it the right time for me to move on? But what do you put with your journalism hat on, TJ?
Well, I thought he was leaving his options open.
I think he's doing it very cleverly, yeah. And he's never had a season where they fall away. I mean, they still get the 10 wins. This finals outside the 2 grand final years they've made. And they haven't won finals outside of those 2 years, but they've never had a season where the bottom falls out of them. And I think he's doing it really, really well.
And he'll have clubs chasing him, won't he? You think? Like he wouldn't be out of the game for too long.
I kept referring to the relationship he's got with Simon Garlick at Fremantle, who've got a similar situation. And I know what they said publicly, TJ, about changing the contractual status of Justin Longmuir, but he's out of contract. He's out of a job if they don't make finals and win a final. So there's a vacancy there potentially.
Does Tassie need a first-up coach, a bit like the Giants with Kevin Sheedy, charismatic, media-friendly? I mean, is Tassie an option?
They're on record, the Tassie team, Brendan Gale and Andrew Dillon, who will have as much say in that decision as anyone, wanting someone who's coached senior football in the AFL. So, yes, he does.
OK. All right, but it's a hard question to answer. Like, will you be on this panel in 2026?
Oh, well, I think I'm not... Of course, I want to be and contracted to be, TJ, but it was interesting. Normally, a coach will not give an answer like that.
Didn't seem confident he's going to be here next season.
Oh. Will you be here next year?
Yes, I'm contracted for next season.
All righty. Now,
the big
Carlton.
question is, will you be? Actually, after a few issues you've had.
What issues?
Just bringing the dog into work,
Now, Carlton, of course, it doesn't get any easier for them. They're up against Collingwood, which reopens the old rivalry between 2 of the biggest clubs in the competition and 2 of the biggest names ever to go through the gates at Princes Park. Join our very own Jess Webster now.
Thanks, TJ. I've gone in search of answers this morning and I found a couple of Carlton icons to help me out. Anthony Koutoufides and Christou, thanks so much for your time this morning, guys. What is going on with the Blues at the moment? How do they turn it around?
It's been a tough few weeks, hasn't it? It's not the start of the year that we really were expecting. In particular, the loss of round 1 against Richmond really hurt us. I think at the moment you can see the boys have been trying hard, but they just haven't been getting over the line. The last 2 weeks have been a lot better, but all that effort has to come to 4 points. So hopefully it's not too far away, Ange.
Yeah, it's fair to say we've been in a bit of a pickle, but there's nothing that we can't resolve.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit of an optimist. I believe in Voss, I believe in the club, I believe in the players, that it will turn around.
Good. I know we've got a big game this week against Collingwood, Jess, and it's always a big one. And Ange, of course, was a mad Collingwood supporter growing up. So was I. I'm totally off them now. This is a big one for us. We get over line here, our season turns around against Collingwood, but I'm always still very sus that Ange is a Collingwood supporter. We have the Magpie. I'm happy it looks like it's dead.
We have Pie, we've got Collingwood nutties that come into the shop. I'm fairly inclusive. Everything's donated, so they donate dead magpies.
Your series down 0-3 though, ahead of a clash against the Pies on Thursday night, and you've got Pies memorabilia here. Is that a bad omen?
That's okay. I mean, look what happened last year, you know, with Hawthorn and Brisbane. They didn't start well, so if we can take a leaf out of their book, anything can happen.
Ange is back to Vossi as the man to lead them forward. Kuda, what do you think?
No, I agree. He's been terrific, Vossi. He's obviously under the pump now, but I think he has the cattle there to be able to turn things around, and we have the utmost belief in Vossi to be able to do that. So we know last year Brisbane started 0-3 and were able to go and win the premiership. We're not saying it's going to be that for us, but I can see the boys, you know, getting over the line and turning the season around soon.
Together, hence why we're in this, we can achieve the dream.
What's going on here?
The big reveal.
If we can give this guy a chop out, we could get a few of these.
Oh, I like that. Say, Cripper needs a bit of help, you say.
Just a little. If everyone can play half as good as him, we're fine. We're on the right track.
Now, give me an insight into the rivalry. Thursday night at the G, a massive game. You can't afford to go 0-4. It would be so much pressure. How do you get over the Pies? And how can the current group of players maybe lean on some of the most amazing memories that this club has had over the years to resurrect their season?
There's some huge games against Collingwood. And my first time I played them was back in 1992. I think it was Ange's one also. The rivalry was huge and the build-up to it. I always got excited by it because I love the big games and the big crowds that came along. But no doubt it's going to start in the middle and it's going to be an important one. Collingwood's a class act and we know. They hurt us a couple of years ago and stopped us making finals, and I know sometimes you can't look back, but that should be a little bit of a driver to turn things around, and this is a big one for us as supporters. We want to see the Blues beat the Magpies.
And wherever Carlton are on the ladder, last first, it's going to be an epic, 80,000 people. Let's go.
Yeah, and the danger man, as we know, is Nick Dacos. He's an absolute superstar for Collingwood, but we have our plays and I'm sure we can get over the line.
Last one for you. How does the Carlton faithful keep their belief? What's your message to the fans?
Well, just with the T-shirt, together we can achieve. We can, we believe as well. So we're in a bit of a rut, but if we can kind of stick together and galvanise, things can happen.
Yeah, we've got to believe, and we are the most magnificent football club, and we will turn it around, and we will get better. And let's bring on. The season starts now for the Carlton Football Club.
That's right.
Thanks so much for your time, guys. Can't wait for the game on Thursday night, TJ.
Couple of characters there from the Carlton Football Club. We'll have a chat about what you thought about Paddy Cripps in a minute, but Lou Richards medal leaderboard. James Sicily on top. Finn Callaghan, Will Day. Yesterday was brilliant. Dawson plays today, and then Dacos, and it is returning for a third year in a row to the Sunday Footy Show. The Lexus of Blackburn, where luxury meets performance and footy passion drives everything they do. And they've got some nice skills just handling the Sharon out there. Lexus of Blackburn, thank you for all your support over the last 3 years. The after-sales service and the coffees out there. But Ange, Christou and Anthony Koutoufides there. That was fantastic, wasn't it? No,
I don't think the T-shirt's pertaining to Patrick Cripps.
It says captain.
Well, I think he was talking about Kuda.
Oh.
Captain W. Anchor.
Right.
Even you could work that out.
It was just
you should be able to work that out. All right, we'll take a break. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. More of this mysterious show in just a moment. Very much looking forward to this tonight at 9:40. Footy Furnace with that man, the Cars, Jimmy, and also Tom Morris. And your mate, James Hird. Does he take your calls, Llordo?
He does. He does.
Still nothing from Dustin Fletcher?
Still nothing.
So Footy Furnace tonight at 9:40. There's a lot to dissect, as there is now with Damo's agenda.
TJ, there was disturbing vision, CCTV style, to emerge from the Corowa local court during the week with Noah Bolter, Richmond's player with Noah Bolter, involved in this fracas outside a Mulwala night spot. He's still suspended by the Tigers, TJ, and effectively the AFL for one more week of footy, but prior to being sentenced officially by the Corowa local court, he will be available for selection under that AFL sanction for rounds 5 and 6. I'd be very surprised, just given what emerged through the courts on the weekend and the messaging around all types of causes relating to what he just went against, that he'd be actually available to play. Now, I know the official sanction will expire at that time frame, but I'd be really surprised if the Tigers dared to pick him inside that time frame, is my take on this at the moment.
With a little encouragement from the AFL?
Yeah, well, again, when clubs make those decisions, they're always done so with conjunction behind the scenes with the AFL. So they've signed off on what was done. It was the first time that both the club and the AFL had seen the vision. They were aware of it. There was nothing that they had said to them that went against what they saw in the vision, but that was the first time they actually saw it, as the public did in that particular case in question. Moving on to Essendon's Ben Mackay, I loathe this, Llordo, when supporter groups actually Bronx cheer one of their own, as happened with Mackay.
Though from Bergman, wonderful setup from Port Adelaide, deep, but there's no one home. And some applause is what I'll call it.
To Reed. Now this is a kick up the corridor to Mackay. So racking up plenty.
So multiple occasions there, and I just think supporters just need to be, in that moment, just check themselves and be better than that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Damo. I know Paul Salmon left Essendon. He got booed off the ground at Waverley in a final against the West Coast Eagles, I think in around 95, 96. And Sheeds got him back to the club at the end of his Hawthorn period just to try and smooth over what was such a bad ending for Paul Salmon. And yes, I've been hard on Ben Mackay too, but there is nothing worse than your own supporters booing your own. And I hope that they wouldn't do it again.
It's going on for a long time, though, Damo, and I don't think...
It doesn't make it right.
Yeah, it doesn't make it right, but I don't think it's going to change, is it? I mean, supporters are going to boo when...
Well, they're not supporters. You can't use that definition of them.
They're still going to do it.
They're not.
So you think it's OK, do you?
I don't think it's OK. Like, I'm not going to go to the ground and boo somebody, but do we think talking about it now is going to stop everybody from doing something in the future?
But I'm just highlighting the hypocrisy of a supporter group, and this one, the Essendon occasion, of doing what they did. I think it's just really poor, and just to maybe just put yourself in his situation, what he's going through. And again, as we talk about the Mackays, the Harry Mackay situation, TJ, with Carlton, Michael Voss during the week, very open publicly now about the reasons for him missing round 2 and again in round 3. They're personal issues. That's a paraphrasing of a wider, I suppose, explanation as to the why he's missing. But the maturity, Rory, I think, of footy clubs to actually go public with the reasoning these days, as opposed to what they may have once done in the past, to either force the player to play or not address it.
Yeah, but just take a step back. How does fans actually then show their support? I'm confused as a fan. If I go up and I want Ben Mackay or Harry Mackay to play well, do I cheer when he gets the ball or just stay silent now?
Well, you're not going to encourage by booing.
No, but they were cheering, weren't they? They were cheers.
They were Bronx cheers.
It
was a Bronx cheer.
They were ironic.
I couldn't hear the boos, sorry.
Yeah,
you couldn't hear the boos?
I could hear... I thought there was more like cheering.
No, there wasn't booing. It was they were cheering. Like, he's finally
That's what I'm saying. So what would you expect now? Do you just want them to stay silent, fans, when they come
we
Ben Mackay
don't
gets
need
the ball?
Bronx cheers against one of your own. How's that encouraging?
If they want him to play well,
you reckon that's
I'd be encouraging him. Yes, he's playing well. Like, come on, let's get around him too.
Well, geez, I don't, mate. All I know is that we're forever being told about the mental health space, and that can't be good for your mental health when your own supporters turn on you.
What I'm trying to say is, what do you expect fans to do? Like, maybe they're trying to cheer him to actually get him up, and we want to see the ball in your hands.
Don't think so.
Don't think so?
No.
Maybe got too much faith in supporter bases.
We'll take a break. You're watching the Sunday Footy Show.
When playing away from home, the Sunday Footy Show stays at the Langham Melbourne. The Langham Melbourne, a proud supporter of the Sunday Footy Show.
My time in South Australia was spent exploring Adelaide and all the best spots in the city. When I'm not on the footy field, I love tapping into my creative side and diving into the worlds of arts and fashion. I had a great time wandering through the art gallery and exploring a new city with my teammate TJ. The Chihuly exhibition was a trip highlight. It was honestly so cool to see all the glass sculptures, all the beautiful colours. It was honestly breathtaking. With so many events on, I'm already planning my next trip back to Adelaide.
Well, why wouldn't you? It's a fantastic city and we can't wait to get back over there. And of course, the official start, that's what we say, the official start of Gather Round is on Tuesday, the 8th of April, right here on Channel 9 at 7:30. Eddie Maguire, Rory Sloane, Nathan Brown.
Brownie's on.
Gee, I tell you, must have been a few cancellations. And James Hird, right, will all be there front and centre. And as part of this, it's from the Barossa, and as part of the entertainment, there's also a massive giveaway. And that being, of course, look at that. This is the Mitsubishi Triton. It's valued at more than $70,000. That colour, that's the colour you'll be getting too, that orange. That is
what
something
would you describe it as, that colour? Is it a burnt orange?
It's a
orange?
Yamabukai. A Yamabukai orange.
No, it looks great.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, so it's worth getting it just for that. And it's also got the electric roll top, which is very important.
Back onto footy. So we've got a big game in Adelaide today. Adelaide Crows take on North Melbourne. It's going to be huge. I think a real battle of the midfield, Damo. It's also Rory Led's 250th game.
Is North any hope?
Milestone. Yes, absolutely. The way they played last week, especially the midfield, the way they'll challenge Adelaide's midfield, there is definitely some
Is he the best Rory to ever play the game?
Almost. He's got 5 more games to be the best.
The other game is West Coast and the Fremantle Dockers. So just for Justin Longmuir's sake, you hope they put in a strong performance because there'll be pressure on if they lose that one over there.
Indeed. All right, here he is with
This is pressure on Damo now.
Okay, he's up for it.
Brownie, many Melbourne supporters made the decision yesterday to not go to the MCG. And do you know where they were, Brownie?
Where were they, Damo?
They're at the snow, Brownie. And
in summer?
In summer. They might have gone to Japan just for that snow, but they're in the way of this particular penguin, which gets us into the animal fact. And his mate's coming from right of screen there, but he's a very polite penguin, just moving across to see his mate, but the supporters are in the way.
I'm going to start sending you animal facts.
You
that
do.
was terrible.
The ones you've been sending me, you can't use, Brownie.
You didn't like my fact that kangaroos have 3 vaginas? We could have
a
little better around
okay,
that.
Rory, right. We're going to take a break here on Nine's Wide World of Sports, the Sunday Footy Show. Rory, we need to have a little chat.
It's just a fact.
Well, it is. It's not a fun one, though. You're watching the Sunday Footy Show. More in just a moment. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Whatever you've been doing over the past couple of hours, certainly hope you enjoyed yourself. Richmond supporters don't need reminding they didn't have it all their own way last night, but they will today, Nathan.
They certainly will. Tyler Sonsie's with us. Thanks for coming in to join us, mate. Wasn't the best day for the Tigers yesterday, but take us back a couple of weeks ago with Seth Campbell doing the backflip. How good was that to beat the Blues in the opener?
Yeah, it was unreal. Wasn't really expecting it, to be honest. It's half-time coming on a sub. It was a bit weird. We weren't in the best position, but yeah, coming on, having an impact, I guess, as a team, and yeah, Seth doing the backflip at the end really topped it off.
Started okay yesterday. You were, I think, a couple of goals up. Then the Saints kicked the next 5 or 6. Tom Lynch got a bit aggro yesterday. It was very entertaining sitting at home watching the TV with Tom Lynch trying to fight everyone.
Yeah, I think Tommy Boy was just sticking up for Tim Torino getting tagged. Windhager got to Tim a fair bit. So, yeah, it's just sticking up for her teammate.
So how did Adamuzo handle post-match? Because it was such a disappointing first half where, I said only 8 points down at half-time, but to lose the way he did was bitterly disappointing.
Yeah, it was really frustrating. Everyone was disappointed after the game. Like we said, we win it at half-time. But, yeah, the second half was, pretty disappointing.
There's been moments within those games you're referring to, the past 2 weeks of losses, but how are you as a club dealing with and even discussing after each match how you're going to get through what is going to be a very long season?
Yeah, I think after every game it's always going to be a learning, win or loss. Even after the Carlton game, there was still a lot of learning. So, review it really honestly, win or loss, and, look forward to the next week.
There's some good footy. He's got to iron out those consistencies, but he's a good Eastern Rangers boys, Tyler. Grew up out in Roval Way. But your housemate with Nick Watson, the Wizard.
Oh.
What's it like in Richmond at the moment? Life in Richmond?
Yeah, it's full on. He's fine at the moment. Hawthorn are going well, so he's always up and about. Always giving me a bit of stick.
So that Rowville Secondary College, that's produced quite a few footballers, hasn't it, including your housemate?
Yeah, so Nick, Jake Saligo, Connor McDonald's been there, Lewis Hayes, he got drafted. Might be a couple more as well.
Breed them tough out there, TJ. That's it's a little bit different.
Aren't you from out there?
He's actually got a bit of Llordo about him, Rory. Brings it back to himself.
Mate, it's really good the way. No, but Llordo normally just brings it back to himself, bang, straight away. You build up to it, which I think is admirable.
Yeah, just ease in.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we've had another situation whereby your opponent, obviously you've psyched him out and hasn't turned up.
Xavier Lindsay.
I wasn't going to name him, but do we know why he's not here?
He hurt himself yesterday, went off, and he's been subbed out. So we wish him the best. He's a good young man, played very well the first 2 weeks. So hopefully he can get back for the Demons pretty quickly.
All right, so Rory stepped up to the plate last week to take on... I forget who. And you're going to step up to the plate this time.
I am. But the prize pack first, Tony. There's the best prize pack in the business. So the Temper mattress, I tell you what.
Can you win this prize pack, Brownie?
I can win this prize pack, absolutely.
How many of these beds do you need?
Ergo Pro Smart, delivery and installation included. This is the best bed you will ever have. It goes up and out into 0G, so that's where astronauts take off in the rocket. It is unbelievable.
Jeez, I wish you were in a rocket at the moment.
It is unbelievable, the Temper mattress. So that is unbelievable. A couple of pillows involved as well. Plus, you sleep well at night, then you go out and play golf. The Callaways, the elite golf clubs from our top mates at Callaway, along with a custom fitting at HQ of Callaway. Total prize pack around $15,000. So if I do win it, Tony, I'll donate it
to you.
Tyler, he has won this twice as a player. So he's talked himself up all morning.
Long time ago, Llordo.
And still believes he'll beat any current day player.
So that's the prize for the end of the year, right? So you've got to get the highest score. And at the moment, that's Brett Delidio, or as Nathan called him 100 times, Bretty. So do you want to step up to the plate, mate? 5 on each hand. You can start with whatever one you like.
Brownie reckons wait till the ball gets down, or wait till the target gets down low and have a crack now.
5. Well done, Rory. That was great.
Oh, hang on. Stop that. You had about 15 practice goes.
7.
Well done.
Oh, no, that's right.
12.
7.
19.
Come on, bullseye,
Been
mate.
bad on the Grambles here.
7.
Nice one. 26.
Yes.
7.
Oh, Llordo, that looks like a 5 to me.
Clear 7.
Here we go.
Look at him.
He's on.
Look at
He does.
He's happy with himself.
7.
Wait for the 6 o'clock, Brownie. That's better.
Oh, look at the spin.
It's not that hard, is it?
7. 5.
Oh, that's a bit rogue.
Brownie. 7.
Hands.
40.
Thank you.
5.
And 45,
Oh, that's hard.
No, I think it was 5.
Sure.
7.
52.
7.
That was a good one. 59.
7.
Now, is this your non-preferred?
Yep.
Okay.
What do you need to win?
Oh, that's firm.
7s will win it.
Yeah, that's not a lot of power in that, mate.
7.
Oh, that was a 5.
A bit floppy, isn't it? He needs it.
Not as sure about himself.
7.
Oh, the cockiness has just subsided a little bit here, Nate.
Oh! 5, Taylor.
Okay, what do we need here?
5.
Just watch the foot folds too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Just the 5.
Do we need to go to the tape?
Oh, you
Hey,
won.
that's a 7.
Yeah.
All right, well, sadly, our winner for today is another Richmond great in the form of Nathan Brown. So good on you, mate. Who you got next week?
Brisbane.
Brisbane. Here or there?
Here.
Right, okay then. Oh, well, time to step up, mate. All right, that wraps it up for this edition of the Sunday Footy Show. And as you always
It's been another great week. So wherever you may be, may the sun shine on you today.